Hi, thanks for joining us. I've got another project for you today if you're a young mum or a grandmother or a grandfather for that matter. It's very simple and they're very useful. They are baby pants. So whether you make them as little shorts for a boy or you make them as little pantaloons for a girl, the choice is yours. We've got a template in the description below that you can download and copy, and you can enlarge and reduce to fit the size of your child. The ones I'm doing today are for an average of about 3 months. But if you decide that you've got a pair of trousers, or not you personally, but your child has got a pair of trousers that fit them really well, and you want to make something similar because you've got a hole in them or they're stained, you can make a pattern very easily. This is what I did here. This is a pair of baby pantaloons, and all I've done is undo the seams that are on the inner leg. Now, as you can see, I was in a hurry when I undid the seams and I actually ripped this pair of baby pants. But what it means you can do is you can then open them up and you can see where the curve goes so that your pants can go underneath your child's bottom. All you need to remember is that your child's bottom is quite round and the front of it is flatter, even with a nappy. And the other thing you want to make sure is that the back of your pants is higher so that they don't get a builder's bum when they sit down. So the pattern that I made, as I say, you can download this and then you can adjust it as you like. Very simply onto graph paper, and all I did was I just basically plotted these trousers, stretched them out to their greatest width and added some seam allowance on there, like so, and added plenty up the top for a waistband. But what it does do is, if you use a pair of existing trousers, is it does give you the correct curve to fit around your child. Because I know when I've tried making trousers for myself, they look great, but then you try and sit down in them and they split. So with your pattern, what you want to do is you want to cut out 2 pieces, right sides together. So you've got the back here with the higher back and the bigger curve, and this is the front. And you want to sew them right sides together. And first of all, you'll sew them right sides together along the front and back seam. Now this is a nice, almost fleecy cotton jersey. So perfect for early morning walks with the dog, or just snuggly pyjama bottoms in the evening. And I've mentioned before, I mean, I don't have an overlocker. I've never used an overlocker. If I'm honest, I don't ever really want to use an overlocker because all the sewing that I do on my domestic sewing machine, which has a variety of stitches. But what I've found is you can get a needle that's a purple tipped needle and it sews jersey really well, and it sews jersey without any problems whatsoever. So I'm just going to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Sew the 2 curved seams first of all, with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a 2.5mm long straight stitch. And then what I'm going to do is just neaten that seam with a zigzag. So it's almost like the effect of an overlocker. And I find it's always best to do your straight seam first before you try and do your overlock, or, you know, edging overlock stitch. So what's this one I'm doing now? This is the back seam I'm doing now with the greater curve. And as you can see, I'm using my foot as a guideline for my seam allowance. And then I'm going to switch it to a zigzag. Just trim off these ends here. And I'm going to use the centre of the foot as a guide for the zigzag, so that the right hand zig of the zigzag actually goes off the edge of the fabric, so it binds it. So when you open it up, you have your front and back seams. And then it's a very simple matter of simply finding the end of those seams and matching them up. And what I would recommend you do is that you push one seam allowance to one side and the other to the other. Match up those seams with a pin. And then just sew all the way down the leg. And to make sure you don't run into any trouble, what you would probably be best to do is to run from that centre crotch seam down each leg, rather than starting at the bottom, because it's one of those things, it doesn't matter how carefully you try and cut fabric, it will never match up perfectly. And I don't know why it never matches up perfectly, I think it's just me. As you can see, I mean, these are pretty much the same length at the end, but this one's half a centimetre out, and I don't know why. So again, go back to a straight stitch, start in the middle of the trousers, and then again start in the middle. Oh. And once you've actually sewn both those leg seams, you can do your fake overlock all in one pass. So there you've got your basic trousers. And you can tell which is the back because the back is higher. And then we're very simply just going to do a very easy cuff and waistband. And what I would suggest is when you do this is actually overlock it first of all. Depending on how long you want your trousers to be, how deep you want the cuff to be. If you just run your zigzag stitch around the end, let's do the other one as well. Before I do that, I'm just going to make sure that that's level at the bottom. And the great thing about most modern machines now is something like this, you can let the feed dogs do all the work. You don't really have to guide it through. I mean, if I took my hands away, it would pretty much go through in a straight line. So do that for the bottom of the legs and also for the whole of the waistband seam. And you don't have to stretch this jersey as you're putting it through because it is a zigzag stitch. It will naturally stretch with the jersey. But it just neatens your edges up to start with, so that what you can do is then you can fold your hems up. And actually I'm going to turn these back the other way around so that you can see where the hem is. And I'm going to turn this back to a straight stitch before I forget. Turn your hem up by about 1 centimetre. And then if you line your zigzagged edge up to the left-hand side of you, the inside left of your presser foot, or you can line your hemmed edge up to the right-hand outside, and then just sew a nice neat hem. Along the bottom. Let's just quickly do the other leg. And I'm not even going to pin this, because a lot of the time you'll find cotton jersey just naturally falls where you want it to. It must be something to do with the knit of the jersey. Of course, I'm doing a huge risk not pinning it, because you know it's now going to go horribly wrong. So there's your legs, and then just do the same with the front waistband seam, but what you want is you want a wider seam, because you're going to thread elastic through this. Now I say you're going to thread elastic through this, you're going to thread elastic through this. I'm not going to thread elastic through this because I haven't brought my elastic with me. To make sure it's even, if you pin that front seam first, and then you fold down the back seam and pin it to the same amount. Oh, with the most bent pin in the world. And then start at the back, but don't start in the middle of that seam, because you're going to need to leave a gap to get your elastic in there. So start about 1 centimetre away. Lock your stitch. And again, stop about 1 centimetre from that back seam, so that you've got plenty of room, that when you do have more common sense than me, you can get a safety pin. Just imagine I've got a piece of elastic, but you get a piece of elastic, put your safety pin through it and close it up, and then use your safety pin as a bodkin to ease the elastic through the waistband. Now I've got the safety pin in here, I'm going to have to take it all the way around. And if you're using like a wide flat elastic, which would be the most comfortable for your baby around their waistband, make sure that you don't twist it as you're putting it through. And then once you've come out at the other end with your imaginary elastic, you can just sew those ends, you can tighten it up to how tight you need it, sew the ends together, pop it back in, and then just top stitch that seam so that your child's pants don't fall down when they're toddling along. But there you go. Ooh. Very simple. And when you fold, you know if you fold up a pair of adult trousers yourself, you fold them together, and this front seam is always just a bit shorter than the back seam. It's because if you were to line up the waistband, your bum's always going to be bigger than your stomach. So it's very easy. There's no reason why a beginner sewer can't make a pair of pants like this. People do balk at trousers, and I don't know why. And once you've done a pair of child's trousers, you can do your own. And also, it's a great budget problem, because maybe you've got a nice pattern t-shirt that you've ripped a hole in or something like that, a piece of cotton jersey that's just too pretty to throw away but not big enough to do anything with. You can make some baby trousers with them. Just reuse and recycle. That's all I seem to do these days. So I hope you like that project. I hope you like my pants, and I hope you come back and see us again very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye. If you've been inspired to create, please share your makes with us in the comments section below. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.